Good afternoon. How are you today? Well, I'm taking a break. I have some court stuff to attend to later, and this is my escape to avoid sedentary but thoughtful work at a hot word processor. In the category of the Jefferson Weather Report, it's in the 50s today. Go figure. I don't know. May get up to 60. I doubt it. It's not 60 right now. Very slight wind, hardly noticeable. The sun is out. That's nice. And the days seem to get shorter faster. So that's that story. We have some good news today in terms of the good guys telling the bad guys that maybe they should curtail their efforts to hurt and threaten and coerce others. Namely, Trump. Court of Appeals upheld Judge Chutkan's gag order and said that you have to abide by it, basically, with some advice. And she, that is the judge, she said she will seek to curb any danger to the administration of justice. So in other words, you can do all sorts of political criticism you want, but you cross the line and you start presenting danger to the administration of justice, and you're off limits. The big question is, what will the court do when he gets around to it, when he does violate it, because he will sure shoot and try to turn it into another appeal. And the answer to that question is, well, fines and custody. And could be home arrest, could be other things. And the keys to his problem are in his own hand. That is how he conducts himself. So no doubt he's going to game this with his lawyers. They may try to discourage some of the things he wants to do, and we'll know probably in 24 or 48 hours if he's doing it. In the category of Trump-like, we have none other than the unsaintly Santos has now figured out a way to make money, and he's doing cameos. In other words, you pay him $200 or $300 a pop, and he does a cameo for you. Here's a little video. The guy's a brute. It was right to compare him to Trump, although he doesn't have the power that Trump has, and that's why Trump, who's not much better than this guy, does all the things that he does. In fact, there's a big concern that he will try to appeal the question of whether or not he has immunity from prosecution as a former president or as president when most of these things went down before January 6th. And I don't think it's going anywhere. And the only reason he would do it is to spend time. So the question is, will the Court of Appeals and the Supreme Court, and the variations in which he presents this, will they bite or not? Will they worry about it? Will they spend time on it? Will it stop other proceedings while they're doing that? And I think one way to handle it is everything keeps going until otherwise advised. Now, if the Supreme Court gets involved in this, it would harken back to the days of the Bush-Gore Supreme Court opinion, in which the court made a decision to basically close down Florida, giving it to Bush. And they said at the time, and they wrote it in the opinion, that this opinion has no precedential value, no legal precedential value in any other case. When do you see something like that? And I was on the Hill at the time, and there were extended periods where Democrats wouldn't talk to Republicans. Speaker, I think, was Hastert at the time. He basically said to everybody that we're going to put off our early sessions, and then they had shorter sessions. That's to say, even now, presently, Monday is an easy day, and so is Friday. So on Mondays, they have a consent calendar at the end of the day. If no one objects to certain non-controversial proposals, say naming a post office, or even some more important ones than that, and no one asks for a roll call vote, which it might be impossible to get a quorum because people are still traveling to get there, then matters pass on Mondays. But that kind of slipped into Tuesday. So you lost Monday, so you had Tuesday. And then Friday, people want to get out of town. They don't get a lot of work done then. And so some were leaving on Wednesday. And then the kinds of walking around talking things that might allow for them to govern didn't happen. So it had a profound effect on the Congress and on our nation. And it certainly held up the Supreme Court as a political item rather than as a judicial one that didn't have its finger on the scales of justice. So now the question is, what are they going to do? They're beholden to Trump, who put a number of them on the bench. Roberts would like to have it both ways, I think, as the chief judge. He'd like people to think of the court as judicial and unbiased and strong and all of these things, something that could be relied upon, because who's going to enforce their decisions if the public don't trust in it? And the answer is we already have a challenge in that direction. So will he side with enough of the other members to kill this idea at the doorstep? Hard to say. Hard to say. And then in the category of political misconduct, we have the notion of prosecuting Biden, Hunter Biden that is, and for tax issues and for buying a gun when apparently he had possession of some controlled substance. Now, with a guy with no previous arrest records, what you would do is you would look at the situation and give him a warning, make him do something instead, and that was what worked out. With taxes, we'd say pay him. So what's going to happen? Well, I'm sure that I think Abbe Lowell is still in the case, and he and I went to Columbia, and we know each other, and we've been active in the National Association of Criminal Defense Lawyers. But we're both active. I rarely see him unless I go to a CLE, continuing legal education seminar. So I think he's representing Hunter Biden, and one of the arguments he's going to make is the government made a deal. And the deal was that here's a settlement, and we did it. We did everything you said, and now you're prosecuting for us, so you're breaking the deal. Now, you might say, is that really possible to work? And you have to remember there was a comic up in Pennsylvania who was drugging his dates, and the prosecutor in Pennsylvania said, well, you know, you can handle the civil case and take the stand because we're not going to prosecute you. But then they did. And so Bill Cosby then managed to overthrow the case based on the promise and agreement that he'd received from the prosecutor, who was later substituted by a different prosecutor who ignored the first prosecutor's promise. Here we have the same guy, Weiss, who made the deal and now would break it. I think that's an important issue. I think it's also a jury issue because it cuts two ways. Are you going to be able to use at the trial, by his conduct, admissions of his wrongdoing that you said if he admitted to that, that would be the beginning and the end of the entire exposure that he, Hunter Biden, would suffer? And Biden said properly, that is Hunter Biden, that, you know, if it wasn't for my name, I wouldn't be charged. And I think objectively that that's true, as a guy who's been involved both as a prosecutor and a defense counsel presently. So, it is hard to wrap your mind around a nation that in matters with such great profile, we do so many things that are unfair, that are done because we can, that are hurtful and harmful, and that we fail to help others. You know, I think I've quoted Luke before, but he cursed lawyers who placed a burden on others but didn't lift a finger to lighten the load. So we have errors of commission and omission. We don't help when we should, and we do hurt when we shouldn't. That's some nation. So the rest of my day is going to be spent finishing up this wonderful walk, and then I have some legal work to do to earn my keep. And frankly, I say this, I'm not complaining. I feel strongly that this is what I was meant to do. That is my legal work. And I try to do it the best I can. So I say goodbye to you from the Cathedral of Trees, and hopefully I'll see you again tomorrow. Bye-bye.